Smile Dog's story consists of a classic horror setup. An amateur writer visits the house of a lady who supposedly has a story for which he can borrow from, rather than speak. However, the lady has locked herself up in her room, crying and ranting about nightmares and visions of various of her problems. All of these center around a floppy disk she had been given that had contained the image smile.jpg, which is Smile Dog. In other cases of this have cropped up. Viewing the image succeeds instantly, and no copy of the exact image exists on the web though likeness of what it do. The true image of smile.pjg is recognized due to the fact that the effects it has on the viewer. That is, they wound up dead. Attaching the file, that is spreading the word, is the only way to save oneself from the Smile Dog that appears in one's dreams, demanding to spread the word. Some say that the original legend begins with the image of a devil. I first met in person with Mary E. in the summer of 2007. I had arranged with her husband of 15 years, Terrence, to see her for an interview. Mary had intentionally agreed, since I was not the newsman, but rather than an amateur writer gathering information for the early college assignments. And if it all went according to plan, some of the pieces of fiction, we scheduled the interview for a particular weekend when I was in Chicago. The unrelated business, but at the last moment, Mary had changed her mind and locked herself up in the couple's bedroom, refusing to meet me. For half an hour, I sat with Terrence as we camped outside the bedroom door. I listened and started taking notes while he attempted to fruitlessly claim his wife. The things Mary said made me a little more sense, but fit the pattern I was expecting though. I could not see her. I could tell from her voice that she was crying, and more often than her objections to speaking with me centered around the incoherent dabble on her dreams, her nightmares. Terrence apologizes profusely when we created the exercise, and I did my best to take it in stride. Recall that I wasn't a reporter in such of a research of a story, but merely a curious young man in search of information. Besides, I thought that at the time I could perhaps find another similar case if I put my mind and resources to it. Mary E. was at the CISOP of the small Chicago-based bulletin board system in 1992 when she first encountered Smile.jpg, and it was her life changing forever. She and Terrence had been married for only 5 months. Mary was one of the estimated 400 people who saw the image when it was posted as a hyperlink on the BBS. Though she was the only one who had spoken openly about this experience, the rest have remained anonymous, or perhaps dead. In 2005, I was only in 10th grade when Smile.pj was then first brought to my attention to my burgeoning interest in web-based phenomena. Mary was most often cited victim of sometimes referred to as Smile Dog. Being the Smile.jpg was reputed as to display. What caught my interest, other than the obvious machine or macabre of elements of the cyber legend, as profoundly towards such things, was a sheer lack of information. Usually to the point where people just don't believe it exists, other than the rumor or hoax. It is unique because even though throughout the entire phenomenon centers on the picture file, the file is nowhere to be found on the internet. Certainly, many photo-manipulated Cimaralica litter the web, showing up with most frequently on sites such as Image Board, 4chan, particularly the X-Focus Paranormal subboard. It suspended those were fakes because they do not have the effect of the true Smile Dog JPEG. It is believed to have, namely sudden onset temporal lobe and epilepsy that acute anxiety. This perpetrated reaction in the viewer in one of the reasons that the Phantom, like Smile JPEG, was regarded with such disdain. Since it was patiently absurd, throughout the depending on whom you ask, the reluctance to knowledge to Smile JPEG's existence might be just out of fear as if it's out of disbelief. Neither Smile nor JPEG or Smile Dog is mentioned anywhere on the Wikipedia. Throughout the website features articles on such other, perhaps more scandalous shock sites, such as Hello JPEG or any other site, in any attempt to create a page penetrating the smile.pjeg is summarily deleted by the encyclopedia's many admins. Encounters with Smile JPEG are stuff on the internet legend. Mary E's story is not unique. There are some unverified rumors of Smile.pjeg showing up in the early days of the Usenet, and even the persistent tale that in 2002 a hacker flooded the forums of rumors that satire website Something Awful indulge of Smile Dog pictures, rendering most half of the forum's users at the time epileptic. It also said that in the mid to late 90s that Smile.pj circulated on Usenet, and even as an attachment of a chain email with the subject, "Smile, the God loves you." Yet despite that, the huge exposure of these stunts would generate, there are very few people who admit to having experience with any of them, and no trace of the file or link had been discovered. For those who have claimed to see SmileDog.pj, often weekly jokes that they were far too busy to save a file of a copy of the picture to their hard drive. However, the alleged victims, the same description of the photo, a dog-like creature, usually described as appearing to that of a Siberian husky, illuminated by the flash of the camera, sits in a dim room, only the background detail being visible to a human hand extending from the darkness. Near to the left side of the frame, the hand is empty, but usually described as beckoning. Of course, most of my attention is given to the dog, or the dog creature, as some victims are more certain than others about what they claim to have seen. The muzzle of the beast abruptly split into a wide grin, revealing rows and rows of very white, very straight, very sharp, very human-looking teeth. This, of course, is not the description given immediately after viewing the picture, but rather a recollection of the victims, who have claimed to have seen the picture endlessly repeated in their mind's eye during the time they are. In reality, the epileptic fits, these fits are reported to continue indeterminately, often while the victims sleep, resulting in very vivid, disturbing nightmares. These may be treated with medication, although in some senses it is more effective than others. Mary E., I assumed, was not affected by medication. That was why, after my visit to her apartment in 2007, I sent her out feelers to several folklore and urban legend-oriented news groups, websites, and mailing lists, hoping to find the name of the purpose victim of SmileDog.pj, who felt more interested in talking about the experiences. For a long time nothing's happened, and at the length I forgot completely about my pursuits. Since I had begun my freshman year of college and was quite busy, Mary contacted me through email. However, near the beginning, was March of 2008. 2 from Mary, last summer's interview. Dear Mr. L, I am incredibly sorry about my behavior last summer when you came to interview me. I hope you understand that it was no fault of yours, but rather my own problems that led me to act out as I did. I did realize that I could have handled the situation more decorously. However, though, I hope you will forgive me. At the time, I was afraid. You see, for 15 years, I have been haunted by Smile.Peg. Smile Dog comes to me in my sleep every night. I know that sounds silly, but it is true. There is an incredible quality about my dreams and nightmares that makes them completely unlike any real dreams I had ever had. I do not have more move or do not speak, and simply just look ahead. The only thing ahead of me is that the scene from that horrible picture. I see the beckoning in hand, and I see Smile Dog. It talks to me. And it is not a dog, of course, although I am not quite sure what it really is. It tells me that it will leave me alone if I do as it asks. All I must do is spread the word. That's how it phrases the demands. And I know exactly what it means. It wants me to show it to someone else. And the week after my incident, I received a mail envelope with no return address. Inside was a 3.5-inch floppy disklet. Without having to check, I knew precisely what was on it. I thought about it for a long time about my options, and I could show it to a stranger, a coworker. I could even show it to Terrence. But as much as the idea disgusted me, and what happened then? Well, if Smile Dog kept his word, I could sleep. But yet if I lied, what would I do? And who was to say something worse could not come for me if I did as the creature asked? So I did nothing for 15 years, and I kept the disklet hidden amongst the other things. Every night for 15 years, Smile Dog has come to me in my sleep and demanded I spread the word. For 15 years, I have stood strong, even though there have been hard times. Many of my fellow victims on the BBS board, where I first encountered Smile.Peg, stopped posting. I heard some of them had taken their own life. Others remained completely silent, simply disappearing off of the face of the web. They are the ones I worry about the most. I sincerely apologize, and I hope you will forgive me, Mr. L. But last summer, when you contacted me and my husband about an interview, I was at the near the breaking point, and I decided to give you the floppy diskette. I did not care if Smile Dog was lying or not. I wanted to end. You were a stranger, someone I had no connection with, and I thought that I could not feel sorrow when you took the diskette as part of the research and sealed your fate. Before you arrived, realized what I was doing was plotting to ruin your life. I could not stand the thought, and in fact, I still cannot. I am still ashamed, Mr. L, and I hope that this warning will dissuade you from further investigation of Smile.Peg. You may, in time, encounter someone is, if not weaker than I, then unholy word approved, someone who will not hesitate to follow in Smile Dog's orders. Stop while you are still whole. Sincerely, Mary E. Terrence then contacted me a month later about the news that his wife had killed herself while cleaning up various things she left behind, closing email accounts and alike. He happened to be upon the top of the message. He was the man in shambles, as he wept and told me to listen to his wife's advice. He found the diskette and he revealed and burned it, until it was nothing but a stinking pile of blackened plastic. The part of it what disturbed him the most, however, was how the diskette had hissed and melt, like some sort of animal, he said. I will admit, I was a little uncertain about how to respond to this. At first I thought perhaps it was just a joke, with the couple beatily playing the situation in order to get a raise out of me. I quickly checked the several Chicago newspaper online obituaries, however, proved that Mary E. was indeed dead. There was, of course, no mention of her taking her own life in the article. I decided that for a time at least, I would not further pursue any subject of Smile.pjeg, especially since I had finals coming up at the end of May. But at the end of the odd ways of testing us, almost a full year I had returned my disastrous interview with Mary E., I received another email. From subject Smile. Hello, I have found your email address as through mailing your list profile and it said you're interested in Smile Dog. I have seen it, and as not as bad as everyone says, I have sent it to you here, just spreading the word. The final line chilled me to the bone. According to my email client, there was one file attachment when called naturally smile.pjeg. I considered downloading it for some time, and it was most likely a fake. Yes, I imagined. Even if it wasn't, I was never wholly convinced of Smile.pjeg's particular powers. Mary E's amount had shooken me, yes, but she was probably mentally unbalanced anyway. After all, how could a simple image do with that smile, and was said to accomplish? It was some sort of creature that could break one's mind, with only the power of the eye? And if such things were patiently obscured, then why did the legend exist at all? If I download the image and I looked at it, and if Mary turned out to be correct, if Smile Dog came into my dreams, demanded me to spread the word, what could I do? How would I live my life as Mary had, fighting the urge against until I died? Or would I simply spread the word, eager to be put to rest? And if I choose the latter route, how could I do it? Whom would I be a burden in return? If I went through with my earlier interview intention with write a short article about smile.pjeg, I decided that I would attach it as evidence, and anyone who reads this article, anyone who took interest, would be affected. And even assuming that smile.pjeg attached to the email was genuine, one would comprehend enough to save myself in that manner. Could I spread the word? Yes. Yes, I could. Well, and that, my little pretties, was Smile Dog, a creepypasta. My final thoughts on this story? A true definition of a classic story. I'm gonna say this now. I really enjoyed this classic creepypasta. Now, I remember I did hear Mr. Creepypasta's narration of it back when I started to get into regular creepypastas. Well, creepypastas in general. Like, I definitely really enjoy how well made this story is, as well as, the concept of it. I mean, it's a good classic. I mean, I've started seeing narrations of this story, and people say they like it because it's a classic, and I have no doubt that a lot of people like this story, and I gotta be honest, this story was fantastic. Really amazing and well made. I do like how the story's written, as well as the good grammar, sentence structuring, storyline, everything about it. It actually plays out very well. I do like how well made this story is. I do like the concept. I mean, I do really think that, there's a lot of great, concept going for this story, as well as the good time and effort into it. So, I know this review is not really that long because I don't really know what else to say. I can't see anything that I did not like about this story, and I can't see anything that I did, not care for or anything about this story, because it's a classic. I mean, this is on the regular Creepypasta Wiki, and I recommend you guys check out this classic Creepypasta if you haven't. It's a pretty good story. I mean, this is on the Creepypasta Wiki, and I've been wanting to get to this story for quite some time, and I finally was able to get to this story just today because, I just wanted, to get into it. Now, the day when I upload it, it's going to be like a couple days or at least a week from now. Because, I don't know when I'll upload this, but, you know, to be fair, I don't see anything wrong with this story, but if somebody manages to find it and because I missed it or something, they are free to, um, comment in the comments below because I like to hear what you guys think because, everybody is different on, how this story is and how, what this concept is. So, I mean, I do like the concept. I do find it to be really interesting. I mean, pretty good, pretty good for how well made this story is, as well as I do appreciate the, good grammar and stuff. Now, I can't seem to find out who the original author of the story is, so if the original author of the story manages to find this video and they happen to be the author of the story, I recommend they comment in the comments below. Feel free to comment in this video and let me know so then that way I can be sure to give them proper credit. But anyways, with that being the case and with that being said, this is just simply my own personal opinion, like I said before. And if you happen to disagree with me, that's perfectly fine too. We're all entitled to our own opinions regards to these creepypastas. This is just simply my own personal thoughts. My final rating is a 10 out of 10. A classic creepypasta, well made in detail, and I've really enjoyed this story. Even when I started getting into the Shadow Readers channel, I have always liked this story. And I wonder if Shadow's gonna re-narrate this one, because if he does, I think he might, like this story. Anyways, what did you guys think about this creepypasta? Did you all enjoy it? Did you all not? Also, what we have done personally to help make this story a lot better. Feel free to leave me now what your thoughts are down in the comments below. I'm the Queen of Lions. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. And if you're brand new here to this channel, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe because I make brand new videos every single day. Don't forget to ring the notification bell to when I upload so that way you guys will not miss an upload. And as always, please roll the outro because I'm out.